Students and colleagues, today I have the privilege of welcoming you to a new academic year at Cushing Academy. This marks a special anniversary because the first classes were held 150 years ago yesterday. You are part of a very special history of this school, and you will help to write the next chapter. As you have often heard, our mission states that we exist for students and develop curious, creative, and confident learners and leaders. That means that this school, all of your teachers and our staff, and all of your resources are here to help you become the best version of yourself. And as we do each year, this year we will highlight one aspect of that mission: creativity. In just a moment, you will hear from Michelle Salvucci, our faculty speaker, and from our student body co-presidents, Felicity Leao and Ronnie Pang, with their thoughts about the year ahead. But before we begin, I would like to introduce our new members of the faculty and staff. Please hold your applause until they are all announced. I would ask those being introduced, when your name is called, please stand and remain standing until everyone is introduced. Karen Burton, Admissions, Jewett House. Katie Cobb, English, Carlisle Hall. Amber Daniels, Admissions, On Campus, Main Street. Attila Fisher, Teaching Fellow, Price Hall. Sarah Kraus, English, Cowell House. Katie Marlowe, Spanish, Alumni Hall. Nate Master Alexis, Athletics, Low Hall. Nancy Nee, ESL and Mandarin, On Campus. Jamie Prince, Advancement Office and Athletics, Macmillan House. Carolyn Whitney, Teaching Fellow Chemistry, Vos House. Please give them all a big round of applause. Please be seated. I now invite Ms. Salvucci, a faculty member in our academic support department, to share her reflections.
Good morning. To Dr. Burton and the rest of the beloved and esteemed staff and family of faculty and the treasured Cushing students, welcome back to the start of a new year. To the new faculty and students, my warmest welcome. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I'm going to invite you to sit in your chair, as tall as you can be, with your feet planted on the floor. If it feels good to you, you can close your eyes or lower your gaze and allow yourself a big, slow breath in and then let it out with a sigh. Great, we're all together now. In late June, I snuggled into a cozy seat in my house and opened a book, cracking the spine and settling in. Much to my delight, I read the following quote, "Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life," end quote. These words were crafted by my favorite poet, Mary Oliver, and appeared on the first page of our community read, Callings, by Dave Isay. As I read, I began to see a thread woven deeply into the stories that centered on the creativity people bring to disparate types of work. No matter their job, what everyone seemed to share was a drive to create solutions to the problems they identified. Creativity is the hallmark of these stories, just as it is the hallmark of your work here at Cushing. And today I'd like to share some thoughts on creativity. Now, many of you probably just sat back in your chairs and thought to yourself, this speech is not for me, I'm not creative, that's for artists. But I'm here to tell you that you are creative. My first message is that creativity is for everyone, because creativity is about invention. It's not just about artists, dancers, and actors. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the most magical parts of my job here at Cushing when I work with students and colleagues to create a performance from the ground up. But creativity isn't just the work of the arts. It's the work of life. It's about how you approach problem solving in your day, finding new pathways to resolve issues, It's about how you talk to people when they need help, coming up with just the right words so your friend knows that you are standing there supporting them. It's in the moment when you see and share an aspect of life in a novel way that makes someone laugh or feel something deeply. It's in finding that one thing that keeps you motivated and working when you're exhausted. Creativity is the foundation of how you apply knowledge you've learned in class to generate a new angle of thought on your reading or on your math problems. And it's in how you find new ways to execute your coach's instructions on the field. Creativity is about how you invent new ways of thinking about the everyday. In physics, a prism is simply a piece of glass, but when you hold it to the light and the light is refracted, you are seeing it in a whole new way as a rainbow. That's creativity, taking something common and using it to generate something new and beautiful. And that's something all of us can do. The second idea I want to share is that creativity is work. Achieving creative pursuits often feels like a lofty goal, like it's meant for folks who magically materialize greatness from the ether. I believe that's not the case. While moments of divine inspiration do occur, they manifest more frequently when one does the work. The work of creativity is in finding spaces, both physical and temporal. A lot of this speech was written in the early morning hours, walking my dog Lego across campus in the quiet sunshine, because my mind was open, my body was moving, and the quiet allowed me to think. To be creative, you must find the places in which you can invent, where you can be free to dream, where you are responsible for filling the space and the time. That is part of my charge to you this year. Seek out those places where you feel equal parts at ease and challenged, where you have both the license to dream and the tools to manifest those dreams into reality. That process is not always easy. The work of creativity is a practice. You cannot expect to create an outstanding result in the last moment before a show, a championship, or a test. You must give yourself over to the practice of creativity every day. Tom Hanks once said about acting that you have to, quote, show up with a head full of ideas. And that's true for all pursuits. You must show up with ideas and put them to use. Your teachers do this. Every day they shape how they instruct based on your changing needs. That's pretty creative. Athletes and artists do this when they show up for practice, training their bodies to remember the basics. So when the moment for inspiration arises, they can leave the thinking behind and allow the flow of creativity. I'm sure the first behind-the-back shot, the first rainbow kick, the first alley-oop, the first tour jeté were all born of knowing the basics and turning off that part of the brain that thought, that won't work. It's never been done before. Do what has never been done before. The work of creativity begins with curiosity, with having your eyes open to the world to see how things work so that you can analyze and reconfigure what you know into something new. And this brings us to the final piece. Creativity is risk. To be creative, you have to be willing to fail, to sometimes literally fall. Rarely will a new pursuit turn out perfectly on the first try. Remember that first rainbow kick, that first tour jeté? They probably both ended with the creator flat on their back, like Charlie Brown trying to kick a football. When you find the right people and place, and you give yourself time to imagine and wonder, and then you practice new ways of being and doing, you still have to brave that moment of sharing your discoveries, of actually putting the play into motion. Not everyone will like what you do. That's okay. Van Gogh was not a celebrated artist until well after his death. Galileo died in prison for thinking about the universe in a new way that centered the sun instead of the earth. Dr. King dared to envision a new way of life for this country during the Civil Rights Movement, a time when it was not safe to do so. Sometimes it takes the world a moment to catch up with your new ways of thinking, but keep going. The work of those folks mentioned eventually gained traction. Don't be afraid to show people what you think and to dream up ideas beyond what you have been taught. That brave creativity is the only way we improve what we know and how we live. You are right now on the journey that is your one wild and precious life, and you get to decide how you create it. I hope that you approach this year and the years beyond examining what lights your soul on fire and chasing after exactly that. My wish for you is to be nimble in your thinking and to be able to change the path you're on when you find it is no longer suited to the person you've become. Creativity is a fire that destroys and regenerates us as we practice what lights that fire every day. In the months before their death this year, poet Andrea Gibson wrote of their drive to create and to connect, asking the question, how wide can I carry my heart open to this life, to this world, and to everyone in it? Sometimes that can feel scary and vulnerable, but the risk is worth the payoff. Creation is born of that struggle, the struggle to crack ourselves open, to understand our lives and the world around us, leaving behind legacies of striving for knowledge and new ways of seeing. And so I will ask you in this moment, what will you create this year? And how will you build yourself? What steps will you take to achieve the dreams you've created? What legacy will you leave behind? In short, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? I, for one, can't wait to see. Best wishes to all of you for an amazing year. Many thanks.
Thank you. I'd now like to bring Felicity and Ronnie to the podium.
Dear students, faculty, and staff, good morning. My name is Fangqi Felicity Liao, and I am beyond honored to join your Cushing journey as your student body co-president for the 2025 to 2026 school year. When I first heard about this year's theme, creativity, I pulled off the least creative move, asking my father for his thoughts. Frankly, I do not think that my father is the most creative person ever. He's not particularly good at singing or dancing, and his attempts to be creative in the kitchen have led to some very memorable dishes, not because they were tasty. But I still asked for his help. I was stuck. Creativity to me was always related to drawing and writing, falling somewhere in the realm of the arts and literature. My not-so-creative dad, however, disagreed. If creativity were only present in the arts and literature, he argued, then the world wouldn't be what it is today. Instead, creativity is everywhere. It is present when you decorate your dorm room. It is present when you think about what clothes to wear in the morning. It is present in our everyday lives, helping to come up with every original idea and how to express them. It is the same here at Cushing. In classrooms, creativity promotes new ideas and approaches to learning, resulting in intellectual growth. In dorms, creativity builds bonds and relationships, which in turn form communities. In athletics, creativity fosters efficient workouts and resilience, leading to personal growth. In your own free time, creativity enables self-reflection, leading to ethical development. These are just a few examples of how creativity can be practiced and how it connects to our 4 key journeys at Cushing: intellectual, ethical, personal, and community. None of your Cushing journeys will be complete without creativity, and therefore, we encourage you to practice your creativity. This might sound difficult. As previously mentioned, creativity means producing an original idea and expressing them. When expressing ideas, you may face judgment or even embarrassment. Do not let that stop you, for you will always and only reflect, learn from, and overcome those fears. So be brave, speak up, and impress us with your creativity. Producing an original idea has always seemed harder to me, as ideas only stem from a large number of already well understood concepts. But as you experience more, coming up with creative ideas will get easier and easier. Therefore, with all the wonderful opportunities that Cushing has to offer, we encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. Try stained and fused glass. It may help you understand materials and their properties. Try a new sport. It may strengthen your understanding of physical health. Try talking to a student you're meeting for the first time. They may become your best friend. Try consulting a faculty you trust for advice. They may help you get through a tough time. With all that being said, here's to a new year of trying new things, expressing new ideas, and being creative together. Thank you, and happy new school year.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ronnie Pang, and it's an honor to welcome you all to a new year at Cushing. Whether this is your first time stepping onto campus or your last year walking these halls, today marks the beginning of another chapter in our shared story. Cushing is a place for everyone. Some of us picture ourselves on the field, others in the classroom, and many of us in both. Our reasons for being here are different: athletic, academic, culture, or all of the above. But every journey is valid, and all deserves respect. But being part of such a diverse community can also create moments of misunderstanding. We don't all have the same goals, and sometimes that makes it hard to connect. That's why my first message to you is this: support each other. Encourage that athlete who trains restlessly. Celebrate the scholar who stays up all night mastering their subject. Stand by the student navigating new culture or language. Even if their path is not yours, your encouragement help all of us move forward together. And if you don't know what your path is, you're not alone. When I first arrived to Cushing, I didn't either. But sitting in your seats 3 years ago, listening to the student body co-president speak, I realized that was where I wanted to be. Since then, I've thrown myself into leadership roles, not because I have everything figured out, but because I wanted to discover who I was throughout that journey. That is the beauty of this place. But Cushing isn't perfect, and neither are we. Sometimes you'll feel misunderstood or even doubted. When that happens, remember, don't let it derail you. Everyone's journey is different. Take advantage of the opportunities here and walk boldly towards your goals with no hesitation. Now I want to connect this to the theme of the year: creativity. Too often we think of creativity only as art, music, or writing. But creativity is really about how you approach your journey. It's the ability to see beyond what's given, to find new solutions, and to carve out your own path. The athlete shows creativity by finding fresh strategies on the field. The scholar shows creativity by approaching problems from a new angle. The international student shows creativity by building bridges between culture. Creativity is not reserved for a few. It is a mindset available to all of us. This year, I challenge you to bring creativity into how you support each other, how you pursue your goals, and how you face setbacks. Instead of following a path already drawn, ask yourself, what could I make different? What could I make better? What could I make my own? As we begin this year, let us remember that creativity is about living with openness and imagination. It's about shaping this community in ways no one else can, because no one else has your exact story. So my final message is this: whatever brought you to Cushing, whatever your journey ahead might be, embrace it with creativity. Support each other. Be fearless in pursuing your goals. And most of all, make this year uniquely yours. Thank you.
Let's give our speakers another round of applause. Students and colleagues, as we come together for the start of this school year, we want to recognize this as a significant milestone in your Cushing journey. Whether you are new members of the community, returning students, or new or returning faculty members, this marks the start of a new chapter, and Convocation is a great time to reflect on the year ahead. And for the class of 2026, this year is the culmination of your high school experience as you prepare for what comes next. No matter where you are on your individual journey and which milestone or rite of passage you are experiencing today, congratulations. As you take the first few steps of your Cushing journey, know that for 150 years, students have sat in the seats you are in today and have been penguins in some of the very same classrooms you will study in. For them in the past, and for each of you now, the journey has unexpected twists and turns, moments of joy and times of disappointment, all of which require you to be adaptable, adjust, and recalibrate for the next phase of your journey. In our community read, Callings by David Issei, we read about ordinary people whose lives and work, when shared through stories, were extraordinary. One of my favorites was the story of Storm Reyes, a migrant worker who, while going from job to job with her family, was welcomed into a mobile library. Until that point, she had never been able to have books because they were heavy and not easy to move from place to place. But when a mobile library came to town, Storm's life changed. The librarian saw Storm peek under the tent and waved her in. That invitation to belong changed the journey of her life, professionally and personally. That is what I hope for you at Cushing, that welcome and the invitation to be a penguin forever. At Cushing, we often reflect on the 4 journeys that all students embark on during their time here: personal, community, intellectual, and ethical. These journeys are neither linear nor sequential and require thoughtful attention, resilience, and adjustments over time. They are the lenses through which we measure growth and character at Cushing. In your personal journey, we ask that you pursue excellence. On your community journey, we ask that you respect, support, and show gratitude to your classmates and teachers. Intellectually, we ask that you take risks and grow through challenges and adapt. And on your ethical journey, we ask that you act with integrity. Taken together, these 4 journeys form not only the foundation of a Cushing education, but the pathway toward becoming curious, creative, and confident learners and leaders in your own lives and communities. In a similar way, our school as a whole begins its own important journey this year. We are entering the first year of Cushing's 5-year strategic plan, which is titled Our Common Journey. Like your personal paths, this plan will not take us directly to the summit. Instead, this first year is about laying the foundation, strengthening who we are at our core, and preparing for the growth and success that lie ahead. Guided by 6 pillars: community and belonging, learning, leading, health and well-being, long-term sustainability, and culture and legacy, we begin together, building step by step a future that reflects both Cushing's mission and our shared commitment to one another. As we have said, this year will highlight one element of our mission: creativity. And you've heard wonderful thoughts about this from Ms. Salvucci and from Felicity and Ronnie. I agree with them that it is more than artistic talent. One of my favorite definitions of creativity is widely attributed to Albert Einstein, saying that creativity is intelligence having fun. And when we think about having the trait of creativity, Maya Angelou is quoted as saying that you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. However you think about it, the way humans create in almost every aspect of their life is changing. Historically, we thought about creativity in terms of how humans unlock creative questions. And I think that's still the case. I believe that the human dimension of being creative will always be necessary. However, as new tools driven by AI continue to emerge, the role we play in the creative process, it may change. Some of the questions we frame may begin to be directed at machines to answer, and how we interpret the results of those queries may allow us to imagine possibilities and knowledge that does not yet exist in our world. In our journey this year, creativity will hopefully allow us to see opportunities and obstacles on our paths and resilience in challenges that arise. And this shows up everywhere, in art studios, on athletic fields, science labs, dorms life, all classrooms. In other words, creativity is not optional. As Ms. Salvucci said, it's work. It's essential to your 4 journeys and learning, leading, and living in this community with purpose. As we begin this year, I invite you to embrace creativity as the spark that brings our community together, that helps to make the year extraordinary. One of my favorite quotes is the Quaker phrase, "Let your life speak." As I began to read Callings over the summer, I was thrilled to see it appear in the introduction. The author told the story of when he and his wife were preparing for the arrival of their child. In a meeting with her doctor, he mentioned that he had recently been on the Colbert Report, a late-night TV show, to talk about a book he had written, and the doctor replied with something along the lines of, "I wish I had done something important enough with my life that would allow me to be on Colbert." The author was stunned. This was a doctor, an amazing professional, helping to bring new life into the world, around the clock, every day for her life, which is amazing work. That doctor's life speaks and is a great example of how people live extraordinary lives. So I ask you to do the same this year. Let your life speak. Be the example. Your daily work is transformative in shaping who you are and will be. And your experience here will echo in these halls long after you leave. You are writing your stories and part of Cushing's story. Who you are, how this school impacts you, and how you make people feel on this campus will live on and be told in stories by your classmates and by your teachers long after you graduate. So let your life speak while you are here. As the stories and callings remind us, what we do, day in and day out, matters more than we know. And that is the legacy your journey will carry here at Cushing. I began today about talking about journeys, yours as students, ours together as a school community. We read stories this summer about the extraordinary journeys of ordinary individuals through their work. Your personal, community, intellectual, and ethical journeys are the foundation of your Cushing education. Keep them in mind as you work to meet the goals that you set for this school year. Creativity is the spark that will allow us to adapt, to see opportunity in the obstacles that come our way, and to imagine possibilities not yet realized by hopefully asking the right questions. And remember, let your life speak through your choices, the care you show for one another, the way that you help to shape this community on a daily basis. If we commit to these journeys, to these values, and to living with creativity and integrity, then together we will indeed make this year extraordinary. Have a great school year. Thank you.